Are we set to take advantage of these Eurostars release clauses before they expire on the 15th of July? Today, my friends, we have some big stories to get through, big exit news to discuss, plus a ton more. So I hope you guys show some love, hit that like button, and most importantly, share your opinions on today's reports. Hope you enjoy, and let's get straight into things. Yes, my friends, exciting news because I want to introduce new channel sponsor in Surfshark, because if you're traveling abroad and don't want to miss out on any Euro 2024 action, Surfshark is exactly what you need. But first, let's break down what a VPN is. A VPN keeps your online activity safe and private by masking everything you do. So when you connect to the internet, your data is encrypted, which means anyone trying to spy on you won't see any of your locations, which basically means that your search history is safe, my friends, and whatever's on there is between yourself and the Lords. With Surfshark, you can connect to your home country and stream all your live football games, TV shows, documentaries, and all that good stuff, no matter where you are. As you guys all know, I'm about to be in Italy for my sister's wedding, and even though I gotta be there for family, you just know that it's business as usual, and I'm not missing any Euro 2024 games. So Surfshark is going to help me out. And the best part is, my friends, Surfshark are offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try it out for yourselves without any risk whatsoever. I think you'll find it very handy. Plus, you'll get an exclusive deal if you use my coupon code BLTV for free, as you can see on screen. This lets you get an extra 4 months free. So my friends, secure your online privacy with Surfshark. Enter code BLTV for free, get your extra 4 months, and find all the links below in the description. So stay safe, guys, enjoy the Euros, and thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. As we start things off by discussing an interesting story from the Daily Mirror involving Dani Olmo of RB Leipzig. Now, last night we watched Olmo make it 2-1 to rightfully put Spain in the lead and rightfully help the best footballing team at this summer's Euros rightfully find themselves in the final. I've really enjoyed the football that Spain are playing. It's reminding me of how football used to be back in the day before it became so robotic, so systems based. You know, players fully relying on a way of fulfilling the systems over expressing themselves and showing their individual talent. But going back to this news around Dani Olmo, as we are now learning, he has a release clause set at 50 million euros, which expires on the 15th of July. Is this an opportunity that is too good to turn down? Now, the Daily Mirror reports that we have held conversations with the players' representatives, which is normal, and it's normal to constantly hold conversations with reps. It doesn't always guarantee that you're set to sign someone, so when you're listening to this news, don't see it as, oh, okay, we're looking to sign Dani Olmo. See it as, we are looking to find the best possible players for the best possible figures and prices before deciding whether to make a move. And naturally, with this release clause expiring so soon, it makes sense we'll be on top of that, having conversations, because clubs in Spain, clubs in England are also talking to his reps. Let's see what happens. But in my opinion, is he necessarily a player that we need? I'm not too sure, to be fair with you. Yes, he's a great player, he's a good player, but I think we are stacked when it comes to having these attacking mids, these cams, these players who are strong between the lines. I think we are more than stacked in this area right now. And when you have talents like Hendry and Willian coming literally next summer, I think we utilize what we have. And I think what this team needs is more of a dribbling specialist that has pace and explosiveness over distances. That is the key thing here. I understand the conversation. He comes for a decent release clause fee. Obviously, his wages won't be over 200,000 a week. And yes, he's a player that should be playing at a high level and is good enough to do that right now. But is he necessarily the responsible signing this squad and team needs? Absolutely not. And I'm hoping that nothing really comes from this, even though I like the player and I respect his game. But they're only my thoughts and opinions on this story. Share yours. Do you think that would be crazy to not take advantage of this offer? Or do you think maybe he's a great guy, but he ain't the one for us? So that's the first story out of the way. And now we discuss one of this afternoon's massive reports, as Liverpool have now signed Rio Nguhoma on a scholarship deal. Now he's 15 years old, which means that when he signs for Liverpool, he'll sign a pretty decent pro deal. And it does mean that we are set to earn compensation money for the sale of Nguhoma. Now, Liverpool see this as a massive coup because he is one of the best teen talents in the country. That's not a debate. That's a reality. He really is. And I feel like with Liverpool's efforts to sign him, it's taken me back to the days when they first signed Raheem Sterling from QPR, and within the space of 1 year, Sterling found himself in the first team squad, and the rest was history. So I think this is the main reason as to why Nguhoma's family felt like, you know what, we've got an incredible education at Cobham, and now that Nguhoma is approaching 16 years old, the next 2 years, 16 to 18, are the key decisive years that could determine whether he becomes a superstar or a good player. And I see why you will take advantage of this moment, because Liverpool have been giving more opportunities to academy players compared to us. That's nothing to fight over. That's just an honest reality. I mean, last season we paid the price against them in the Carabao Cup final. We've seen opportunities given to your Bobby Clarks, your Connor Bradleys, your Konzas, plus a lot more. So if you're a Musiala level talent, that is what he is seen as in the coaching circles. I'm not making this up. I've heard from people that have ties to the academy that coaches have seen him as that Musiala level talent. It's no surprise that players of this magnitude want those confident, concrete pathways into the first team. We have to understand the levels and differences sometimes. I mean, look at Musiala. He did the same thing. Yes, there were family reasons behind that, but let's keep things real. I've always seen it like this. If we were a football club that championed our best talents into our first team squad, similar to what you see at your Barcelonas, where currently Lamine Yamal, he's getting opportunities in their first team. Other clubs do the same thing. I think it would have been a much harder decision for Musiala's family to decide to take him out from the club, a club where he spent his formative years here, to then move him on to a Bayern Munich, because Bayern had to outbid us as well, finances wise, to be able to even sign Musiala. So they put in a ton of money behind the scenes to get this deal over the line. He didn't leave for a pittance, and I think it's a similar situation to Nguhoma, and I think this is a very similar situation to Nguhoma, even though reports suggest that maybe Liverpool's contract offer was a bit less compared to ours. So that is pretty interesting. But sadly, I think this whole sale news confirms the fact that maybe some of our top talents don't feel confident about their long-term pathways or having a fair opportunity to get into our first team. You could argue from Nguhoma's family side that if they've watched us put in a lot of effort to sign Kendrick Paz and Estefan Willian, listen, we were targeting these kids when they were 15 years old, not from when they were 16 or 17 or becoming the it boys. We were putting in that work before they started to pronounce themselves in their divisions at a young age. They may feel like if we can do that for Estevals and for Kendrys, why are we not doing that for Rio? I'll be honest, I thought about those long-term possibilities of like Rio on the left, Kendry in the middle, and Estefan on the right-hand side. The dribbling talent, the skill, I'm thinking this could have been the next superstar attack to blow in Europe, but it does seem like the players are prioritizing a more safer pathway potentially into Liverpool's first team squad because the opportunities are there. And come on our side, we've even invested big money on young talents that are blocking out pathways from our academy grads, and even these young talents don't even have clear pathways into our first team. So I can understand why you don't want to waste these precious formative years, which are the most crucial at determining that type of superstar status. So hopefully we can learn some lessons from this story. Good luck to Rio. I think the kid's a talent, and I'm interested to see if he is able to achieve his potential at Liverpool. Time will tell, and let's see what happens. Now to move on to another big story centered around possibly taking advantages of release clauses before the 15th of July. We discussed a report coming out from Records in Portugal involving young Portuguese international in Francisco Conceicao. Now we've seen his exploits at this summer's Euros. He's been a super sub for Portugal. He scored the winner against the Czech Republic. He's been a thorn in many team sides. He looks brave. He's taking teams on. He's nimble, diminutive, explosive, and has great close control. And he is actually the son of former FC Porto manager in Sergio Conceicao. Now, reports from Portugal suggest that we are potentially considering a move because Conceicao's release clause is currently 30 million euros, and that only lasts until the 15th of July, which is next Monday. After that, His release clause increases to 45 million euros, which is still attainable in our hands, but for a talent as exciting as Conceicao, to sign him for around 25 million pounds, you could sign him straight up front. That could be a player that currently fits the model of player we are turning to in this window. Now, I think he's very exciting. I think he's a talent. I know that FC Porto believed in him because they sold him to Ajax and bought him back again, and now he could be flipped for even more money in next to no time. But then I think to myself, he's a player that does do his best work on the right wing because he's left-footed. He cuts inside, and I think to myself, when we have Esteval coming next season, we have Kendry Pines. I thought the plan was to target players that are right-footed from that left wing. That seems to make the most sense in terms of team balance. Yes, we have some talented left-footed players, but the whole team can't consist of left-footed players in these areas. I do think we need that balance. I just think to myself, is this a move that we are only looking to consider based on the money? Or is it something deeper than that? Because his agent is Jorge Mendes, and he was the representative that Bowley & Co used before our sporting directors took over the football club. He does have a good relationship with many people at this football club, and maybe he is pushing his client services towards us and announcing this release clause figure to potentially look to secure a move for his player. Could that be the case? Let's see what happens. As we know, Villas Boas, the new director at FC Porto, is hoping to keep the player, keep him to get him to sign a new contract for more money with a bigger release clause. So nothing's guaranteed at this point in time. But this news tells me that I would not be surprised if we learn of more players whose release clause values expire on the 15th next Monday and then rise to even higher figures. But I think Conceicao is the type of player that I like. I've always liked my small, nimble wingers that can take on their man, that are explosive in short distances, very hard to take off the ball. He's got decent goal threat, 8 goals, 8 assists last season is good for a young player who's only recently turned 21 years old. And the fact that he plays with so much confidence and shows that personality whilst playing for the national team does show that he could be one of the exciting wingers of his generation. He's had a big reputation in Portugal for many years now. It seems like he is starting to showcase that talent. And I guess the question in our hands is, do we take advantage of this right now when he's available for a cut price fee? Because maybe if his career goes to plan, this could be the cheapest he is possibly available for throughout his whole career or before he comes close to retiring. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions. Do you like the sound of this news? Would you make a move for him? Let us know below. And now for the final story, we discussed reports coming out from Mundo Deportivo and Spanish reports suggesting that we may be considering a loan move for recent signing Marc Guiu. Now he's only just come here, and reports mention that he was signed for our first team. He was going to be assessed during pre-season, but he was set to remain here throughout the entirety of next season. Now, even though I read that, I didn't personally believe that, because it's not the first time I've covered stories like this saying the same thing. The famous example being Andre Santos, where we even tried our hardest to get him to register for our first team squad in that 22-23 window before being turned down as he lacked the work permit points. After all the hype and promise, we still don't know whether he is set to have a first team squad place for next season. Time will tell. But yes, reports have mentioned the fact that Maresca wants him, but then we've signed Dewsbury Hall. We have other players in that position. Lavia's coming back, so time will tell on that matter. Doesn't surprise me though, because reports still center around us signing a new striker in this window. Amora Dion of Atletico Madrid is the player it seems like we want to sign and bring him before the window ends, and I've always felt like Conor Gallagher could actually help us in that deal to tie down Amora Dion. So when you have Nico and Nkunku, Amora Dion potentially, how much game time could Guiu really get if he remains here? Does it make as much sense then to keep him, especially when on top of that, we haven't sold players like Dachlo Fofana, we haven't sold Armando Broja? What if we don't get satisfying bids to even sell these guys to begin with? So maybe there was once a plan to keep Guiu here, but now we have to reconsider that plan, because other plans that we were hoping would work in our favor clearly aren't working right now. As we knew, Sevilla actually tried to sign Guiu from Barcelona, and Sevilla are the clubs that would entertain having him on loan because they are set to lose either on a Rafa Mir or El Nesri up front for next season. So there could be a pathway to get big minutes immediately for an 18-year-old, and I think to myself, would you turn that opportunity down to play for a Sevilla instead of vying for like the odd minutes here or the odd sub appearance by remaining with this first team for next season? That is a question for our directors, for the manager, and for Guiu to decide. Let's see what happens. I don't think this is guaranteed at the moment. I'm hoping that he takes part in pre-season soon so we can see what he's about. But it would not surprise me if as the window comes to an end, we decide, you know what, Guiu, you're a talent, but it makes sense for you now to start playing immediately. And if that's the case, I guess so be it. But yeah, you know, it's going to tell me to never really believe reports that mention that young talents will definitely get pathways into our first team, because it's not guaranteed. We have so many, there's such an overabundance of talent, and there's so many players that still have to be sold that we haven't sold just yet. A lot of times reality can change your plans for this theoretical future you were dreaming of. So my friends, they're today's reports. Hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions, and on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. See you all soon.